Good day my dear students. So itutuloy lang natin yung introduction natin which I included the 20 common amino acids na naging assignment nyo noon. So we have here the general formula of the different amino acids. So you have 3 letters or single letter code. So makikita naman natin dito sa baba ng mismong amino acid or specific amino acids yung 3 letters or single letter code. So in here, yung violet na color dito, they are non-polar. Sa green naman, they are polar amino acids. Sa blue, they are positively charged amino acids. And sa brown, they are negatively charged amino acids. So we have here the importance of the amino acids. So first, structural support. So the 20 amino acids serves as the fundamental building blocks sa ating proteins. It forms skin, muscles, bones, and also yung organ tissues natin. Next, metabolic regulation. So they synthesize enzymes required for digestion, energy production, and cellular metabolism. Next, sa pangatlo, chemical messaging. So they form essential hormones. So example natin is yung insulin and neurotransmitters. Example is yung serotonin, dopamine, para makapag-regulate yung ating katawan or makapag-function siya ng maigi. Next, immune defense. So they produce antibodies para labanan yung mga invaders or pathogens and also antioxidants to protect cells from oxidative damage. Last one, nutrient transport. So they construct transport proteins, such as yung hemoglobin. So para saan si hemoglobin or ano yung purpose niya? Siya yung nagdi-deliver ng oxygen and nutrients throughout sa ating katawan. Sa non-polar, or they are also called the hydrophobic amino acids. When we say hydrophobic amino acids, ayaw nila yung water, or they also called as water-hating amino acids. So yung nature naman nila, so of course, ayaw nila sa tubig. And yung role nila is nagtatago sila sa loob ng protein, para malayo sa tubig. Wherein tumutulong para hindi magiba ang structure ng amino acids. So in here, meron tayong examples ng non-polar or hydrophobic acids. We have glycine, alanine, valine, leucine, isoleucine, proline, phenylalanine, methionine, tryptophan, and cysteine. Next naman is yung polar or uncharged, no? So yung bansag naman dito or tawag sa kanila is water loving. They love water. So yung nature nila, so gustong-gusto nila sa tubig. So pero neutral o walang charge. So yung role naman nila is nasa labas sila ng protein at nakikipag-interact sa tubig o sa ibang molecules sa pamamagitan ng hydrogen bonding. So meron tayong mga examples dito, serine, threonine, tyrosine, asparagine, and glutamine. Another amino acids, they are positively charged or basic, or meron silang plus charge. So yung nature naman nila is may positive charge sa normal na pH ng katawan. So yung role nila or functions, so dikit sila sa mga negatively charged na bagay tulad ng ating DNA at RNA. So mga example natin dito is lysine, arginine, and histidine. Another example of amino acids, they are negatively charged or acidic, or yung minus charge. So, yung nature naman nila, of course, may negative charge sa normal na pH ng katawan. So, yung role nito is tumutulong sa paghawak ng mga metal ions tulad ng magnesium and calcium at sa pagbuo ng ionic bonds or yung tinatawag nating salt bridges. So, ito na yung mga different amino acids. So, first, we have glycine. So, si glycine, siya yung pinakasimplest amino acid with a single hydrogen side chains. So, it provides flexibility in protein structures and is essential for collagen synthesis and neurotransmitter regulations. Next, proline. It features unique cyclic structures that introduces rigid kinks necessary for collagen strength. So, kumbaga sa skin elasticity natin, no, si glycine and proline work together to form yung tinatawag nating collagen. So, ano nga ba yung collagen? So, yung collagen is yun yung main structural protein natin sa body natin that acts, no, like a biological glue or scaffolding. So, it gives strength, shape, and elasticity to our skin, bones, muscles, tendons, and ligaments. Another one sa proline, no, it provides the rigid bends in the protein structure, keeping our skin firm and your joints strong. So, yun yung ginagawa ni glycine and proline. Next, we have valine. So, si valine are branch chain amino acid or BCAA, vital for muscle tissue repair, energy production, and maintaining nitrogen balance. So, ano yung ginagawa naman nito? So, si valine, no, it rebuilds and restores damaged muscle tissue after tayong mag-exercise. So, it serves as a direct fuel source for muscles during physical activity. So, si nitrogen balance naman, it maintains adequate nitrogen levels to support yung tissue growth and prevent muscle breakdown. Another amino acid is the cysteine. So scientists found cysteine way back in 1810 by isolating it from egg yolks. So it is one of the oldest amino acids ever discovered. So unlike most other amino acids, si cysteine kasi is nagko-contain siya ng sulfur. So because of that sulfur, no, it has a strong stinky odor called a mercaptan smell. So the exact same smell you get from a rotten egg. So bakit ba mahalaga si cysteine? So even though it smells bad, cysteine acts like super glue inside our body. Its sulfur binds together to form strong bridges, no, that keep hair, nails, and proteins tough and holding their shape. So, for example, supplementing cysteine can be used as one of the antioxidant treatments to reduce the damage of oxidative stress to the human body. So, in addition, si cysteine din po is also used to treat some genetic diseases and cancer. Another amino acids, so we have alanine. So alanine is one of the first amino acid synthesized. So simula pa noong maagang bahagi ng 19th century, sinimulan na ng mga scientist na i-synthesize ang mga amino acid, kabilang na dito yung alanine. So alanine was successfully completed in the 1800s by the German chemist Hermann Emil Keller. So alanine serves as a versatile compound widely utilized to enhance the quality, stability, and growth across the food, pharmaceutical, cosmetic, and agricultural industries. So sa application nito sa food industry, so it is important si alanine for food additives na madalas ginagamit para mapaganda ang lasa or taste or yung flavor at mapatagal yung shelf life ng ating mga kinakain or kinukonsume. Sa application naman ng pharmaceutical industry, so ginagamit ito bilang intermediate sa paggawa ng iba't ibang gamot tulad ng mga antidepressants and anti-epileptic drugs. Another application sa cosmetic industry is madalas itong hinahalo sa mga skincare products natin or cosmetics because of its moisturizing, antioxidant, and whitening effects. Another applications sa agricultural naman, so ginagamit ito bilang raw material para sa plant growth regulators and also sa pesticides natin, no? Upang makatulong sa pagpapataas ng crops natin or yung ani natin at quality ng ating mga pananim. Another one is leucine. So the primary BCAA that triggers muscle protein synthesis and cell growth in mTOR pathway. Next, isoleucine. So, a BCAA involved in muscle recovery, hemoglobin synthesis, and blood sugar regulations. So, dito naman, so importance niya is to, of course, to repair and rebuild damaged muscle fibers after yung physical exertion natin or tinatawag nating physical exercise. So, kumbaga, siya yung nagre-rebuild or nagre-repair sa mga damaged muscle tissues or fibers natin. Another importance is it assists in producing hemoglobin. So, ito naman yung protein sa ating red blood cells na responsible for carrying oxygen throughout our body. Another one importance is it helps manage and balance glucose levels in the bloodstream to maintain steady energy. Kumbaga siya ay nagre-regulate ng ating blood sugar para ma-maintain natin yung energy. Another one is methionine. So, tinatawag din siyang the start signal or the initializer. So, it acts as the first amino acid added during translation because its codon, AUG, no, nag-serve as the universal start codon for protein synthesis in almost all organisms. It provides essential sulfur atoms required to produce other key molecules natin sa body, such as cysteine, antioxidants, or yung glutathione and compounds needed for our metabolism and repairs of our cells. So, tryptophan, it is a precursor for serotonin or yung mood regulator. Melatonin naman is sleep regulator and niacin which considered as yung vitamin B3 natin. So when we eat foods rich in tryptophan, no, our brain converts it into serotonin or yung tinatawag nating the happy hormones. And melatonin naman which helps us organisms to sleep at night. So, ito yung mga pagkaing mayaman sa tryptophan, katulad ng karne at manok. No? It's either turkey, chicken, and pigs. Another one is yung mga isda at seafood, just like salmon, tuna, and hipon. Next, yung mga itlog at dairy. So, of course, eggs, milk, cheese, and yogurt, seeds and nuts, pumpkin seeds, sesame seeds, peanuts, and almonds. Another products or foods, tofu, soy milk, at edamame. Another one, oats and bananas. So, mayaman din sa tryptophan na nakakatulong for relaxation and for us to sleep at night. Another amino acids, which is phenylalanine. So these are the pathways to neurotransmitters. So this refers to phenylalanine, an essential amino acid. So ano naman yung conversion process niya? So sa ating liver, so yung enzyme na phenylalanine hydroxylase, kino-convert ni phenylalanine into tyrosine. So, para saan si tyrosine? It is then used to synthesize yung mga critical catecholamines. So, it regulates pleasure, motivation, focus, and motor control. And sa epinephrine, it controls naman yung alertness natin, focus natin, and the body's fight or flight stress response. So, dietary sources, so found in high protein foods like meat, fish, eggs, milk, cheese, nuts, seeds, and artificial sweeteners containing aspartame. Next, serine. So it is crucial for enzyme catalysis and acts as a primary target site for protein phosphorylation or yung cell signaling natin. So, when we say enzyme catalysis, no, mayroon tayong hydroxyl group, which is yung serine. So, yung serine na yun yung tumutulong sa mga digestive enzyme natin, just like yung trypsin, para mas mabilis na durugin ang mga proteins mula sa pagkaing kinakain natin or kinukonsume natin. Another thing is yung protein phosphorylation. So, ang serine, ang pangunahing glue or dinidikitang lugar ng mga phosphate group sa tulong ng enzyme na serine kinase. So, ang pagkakabit na ito ay nagsisilbing on and off switch para kontrolin ang action and signal sa loob ng mismong cell. So, bukod sa pagbibigay ng signal, so ginagamit din ang serine para makabuo ng iba pang amino acid such as cysteine at glycine. Another thing is yung mga taba or lipids na bumubuo sa balot ng mga cells at nerves natin sa ating utak. Another amino acids is threonine or threonine. So these are essential for mucin production, protective mucus, and structural protein maintenance. So kapag meron tayong problem which is yung stomach acid, so the stomach produces strong hydrochloric acid or yung tinatawag nating HCl, no, to break down food and kill bacteria. So without protection, no, this acid would digest the stomach issue itself, leading sa mga painful ulcers. So, para ma-prevent natin yon, no, the stomach produces mucin. So, ano nga ba yung mucin? So, it is a thick, slippery mucus layer that acts as a physical barrier between the tissue lining and the harsh acids. So, kumbaga si mucin is nagpo-produce siya ng sticky mucus para maprotektahan yung stomach natin into different bacteria. And the next, another role of threonine. So si threonine naman is a critical building block of mucin proteins. So it is a chemical structure that allows carbohydrates to attach to it, creating the heavy gel-like texture needed to shield the digestive lining. Next, tyrosine. A tyrosine is a key player in signal transduction, thyroid hormone synthesis, and skin melanin production or yung skin pigment. So, ang tyrosine ang kinakabitan ng phosphate group upang magsilbing on and off switch. So, with the help of this one, nipapasa ng mga receptor, just like insulin receptor, ang mga hudyat or signals sa loob ng cell upang kontrolin ang paglaki at yung metabolism. So, sa paggawa naman ng thyroid hormones, so ito ang nagsisilbing pangunahing foundation sa thyroid gland. So, kumbaga, pinagsasama ang tyrosine at iodine upang makabuo ng mga thyroid hormones, which is yung T3 at T4 natin, na nagpapatakbo ng bilis ng metabolism sa buong katawan. Another thing is yung pag-create ng melanin or yung kulay sa balat natin. So with the help of this one, so sa tulong ng enzyme na tyrosinase, so ang tyrosine ang ginagawang melanin. So ang pigment na nagbibigay ng kulay sa balat, buhok, mata at nagtatanggol or nagproprotect sa balat natin laban sa sikat ng araw or yung UV rays natin, yung ultraviolet rays natin. Another amino acid is asparagine. So it acts as a key linkage site for N-link glycosylation, attaching carbohydrates to protein. So paano ba gumagana si asparagine? So sa loob ng cell, kinoconnect ng katawan ang mga molecules ng asukal sa nitrogen ng asparagine. Kumbaga nag-attach sila. So bakit ito mahalaga? Of course, tumutulong ito para ma-fold ng maayos ang mga proteins at hindi kaagad masira. Kumbaga meron or tumutulong ito upang magkaroon ng rigid structures yung isang protina. Another thing is that ang nabubuong glycoprotein ay nagsisilbing ID tag ng cell para malaman or malaman ng immune system kung invaders ba yung mga nakakapasok or sariling cells yung nandun sa katawan ng isang organism. Next, amino acids. Glutamine. So si glutamine, they are the most abundant free amino acids in blood. It serves as primary fuel for immune and intestinal cells. So sa immune fuel, during an infection or heavy physical stress, our immune cells and gut cells is gumagamit sila ng glutamine as their main source of fuel para ma-repair yung mga damages, or cell damages and fight illness. Another one is lysine. So they are essential for cross-linking collagen fibers, histone modification or yung tinatawag nating gene regulation, and carnitine synthesis. So dito, i-simplify lang natin. So ginagamit ito mostly sa DNA packing natin. So, because DNA has a negative charge, si lysine yung nagsiserve as positive charge or siya yung nagkikarry ng positive charge to act like a magnet. So, yung ginagawa niya, it binds tightly to DNA to pack it tightly inside our cells. Arginine. So it is direct precursor for nitric oxide or vasodilation and an important component of the urea cycle. So example natin dito is yung blood flow natin. So when our muscles need more oxygen, so si arginine is nagko-convert into nitric oxide or yung vasodilation. So these are gas that relaxes and widens yung blood vessels natin to improve yung blood flow and it lowers our blood pressure. Next, histidine. So si histidine naman, It functions as a physiological pH buffer and aids catalytic activity in enzymes like hemoglobin. So, kumbaga sa histidine, it helps hemoglobin bind access to hydrogen ions, regulating and stabilizing yung blood pH or yung pH level of blood natin as oxygen and carbon dioxide are transported. Next one is aspartic acid or yung aspartate natin. So si aspartic acid is a non-essential and acidic amino acid na may mahalagang papel sa metabolism at paggawa ng energy. So it participates in the urea cycle, gluconeogenesis, glucose generation, and nucleotide synthesis. So dito, no, yung ginagawa ni aspartic acid sa urea cycle or yung pag-alis ng toxic substances or lason sa katawan ng tao is that nagbibigay ito ng ikalawang nitrogen atom upang gawing urea ang nakakalasong ammonia sa atay para mas mabilis nating ma-eliminate or matanggal or mailabas yung ating urine or yung ihi natin. So another thing is that aspartic acid carries a negative charge. So kapag negative charge yung isang amino acid is nagbabind sila into positively charged minerals just like magnesium and calcium. So enzymes can use them to generate yung cellular energy or yung tinatawag nating ATP or adenosine triphosphate. Next, glutamic acid or glutamate. So it is the primary signal messenger used when learning and remembering things. So it jumps between nerve cells to transmit yung mabilisang or quick electrical signals in the brain. After amino acids, let's tackle about the lipids or yung continuation natin sa unsaturated versus saturated fats. So this image illustrates the core structural physical differences between saturated versus unsaturated fats. So ano nga ba yung pinagkaiba? So chemical bonds. So kung makikita natin sa saturated fats, they contain only single bonds or dito sa chain na to or sa pinaka-parent chain natin, it contains only single bonds connecting to the different carbon atoms. And then yung isa naman, may makikita tayong double bonds here sa unsaturated fats. So it contains at least one double bond, C to C bond, between the carbon atoms. Another thing is hydrogen capacity. So dito, sa corner niya. Or yung hydrogen capacity nito. So sa saturated, no, filled with maximum possible hydrogen atoms, dito sa taas and dito sa baba, and of course, dito din sa corners niya. So another thing sa unsaturated naman, no, fewer hydrogen atoms because double bonds, no, take up bonding slots. Kumbaga, nabawasan si unsaturated fats ng hydrogen bonds because nagkaroon ng kink dito or bent. So molecular shape, no? Sa molecular shape ni saturated, straight chain or rigid carbon chain. Unlike dito sa unsaturated, meron tayong kink or bend chain caused by the double bonding. Another differences sa state at room temperature. So of course, si saturated is solid at room temperature. And then si unsaturated, no? Kinks prevent close packing. So common examples, we have butter, lard, coconut oil, animal fats, olive oil, vegetable oil, fish oil, avocado. So, meron tayong tinatawag dito sa saturated na S rule. So, ano nga ba yung S rule? So, yung S rule contains single bonds, straight chains, and solid at room temperature. Dito naman sa unsaturated, no? Meron tayong bendy dito na terminology. So the bendy unsaturated fats have double bonds that force bend or kink in the chain. So because the chains are bent and nawala na yung kanyang structure, naging irregular na siya, so they cannot stack neatly. So, remaining loose and fluid. So, masasabi natin na si unsaturated is liquid at room temperature because of the kink or the double bonding dito na carbon to carbon bonding. So most animal fats have a high proportion of saturated fatty acids which can be unhealthy to us humans. Example natin dito, we have butter and yung lard. So yung lard, ito yung namuong mantika ng mga fats ng mga animals. So they are usually solid at room temperature. So they can contribute to atherosclerosis and cardiovascular disease. So ano nga ba yung atherosclerosis? So kung makikita natin dito, we have yung process kung saan kapag nagkusum tayo ng a lot of unhealthy animal fats or fatty acids, no? Magkakaroon tayo ng atherosclerosis. So yung atherosclerosis, siya yung nagpapatigas at nagpapasikip ng mga ugat or yung arteries natin, no? Dahil sa pag-ipon ng sebo o taba o yung tinatawag na nating plaque dito, no? So dito yung dahilan ng pagkaipon ng taba, ito na yung pagbabara ng cholesterol, taba at iba pang dumi sa ating ugat or arteries. So ano yung effect nito? So binabawasan nito ang daloy ng dugo at oxygen sa katawan. Kumbaga pinapasikip ni plaque, no? Yung daloy ng dugo natin and oxygen sa mismong katawan natin. So yung panganib nito maaaring magdulot ng heart attack o stroke or mag-lead ng cardiovascular disease. Kapag masikip na yung plaque, there's a tendency na yung isang organismo o isang tao magkakaroon ng heart attack or stroke or magkakaroon ng bara, no, sa artery ng isang tao. So most plants and fish oils tends to be low in saturated fatty acids. Example natin dito, corn oil, canola oil, COD liver oil, and usually liquid at room temperature. So hydrogenation and trans fats. So what is hydrogenation? It is the factory chemical process where extra hydrogen is added to liquid vegetables or vegetable oils under high pressure. Example natin dito is yung production of margarine and peanut butter. So yung goal ni hydrogenation, so it turns liquid oil into solid fat, no? Like margarine or shortening. Nang sa gayon, yung mga food last longer on the shelf without spoiling. Next, so why are trans fats unhealthy? So during partial hydrogenation, trans fats are created when the shape of the fatty acid molecules bends awkwardly. So ano yung mga health risk na naibibigay ni trans fats or na produce? So they offer zero nutritional benefit and actively raise bad cholesterol while nilolowering niya or linolower niya yung good cholesterol. It greatly increasing the risk of heart disease. So because they are even more damaging to blood vessels than natural saturated fats, so many countries and health organizations have banned or strictly limited the use or their use in commercial foods. Steroids. So, ano naman yung steroids? No? These are another type of lipids. So, these steroids are a unique class of lipids that look different from regular fats. So, instead na long straight chains, no, yung makikita natin, they are shaped into four fused carbon rings. So, dito, cholesterol acts as the foundational building block for all another steroids sa ating katawan. So, the body uses cholesterol to manufacture yung mga essential sex hormones natin like testosterone sa male and estrogen sa female. Nang sa gayon, para mag-send ng chemical signals throughout the body. Anabolic steroids. So they are synthetic anabolic steroids are controversial because they are variants of testosterone. So these are man-made versions of the male hormones testosterone. So some athletes use them illegally, no, to build muscle tissue and recover rapidly from exercising or exercise or physical activity. So yung health risk naman nito, no, so they can cause severe physical and psychological damage. So sa mental health natin, extreme mood swings, and clinical depression. Sa internal organs natin, liver damage and dangerous increases in cholesterol levels. Sa reproductive system, shrunken testicles, reduced sex drive, and infertility o yung sinasabi nating inability to have children. After lipids, dito na tayo sa nucleic acids. So, nucleic acids, so ginagamit sila as storage of molecules. So, nucleic acids store the genetic code and provide instructions for constructing proteins. We have two main types of nucleic acids. So, DNA or the deoxyribonucleic acid, it holds the master genetic blueprint of specific organism or each organisms. Sa RNA naman or ribonucleic acid, it helps translate and carry out instructions from DNA. Kung ano yung sinabi ni DNA, si RNA yung magta-translate or gagawa ng kinonvey na message ni DNA. So, sa protein translation, so the cell translate instructions from nucleic acid language o yung tinatawag nating nucleotides into protein language o yung mga amino acids natin to build functional proteins. Flow of genetic informations in cells. So these are commonly referred to as the central dogma in biology. So it shows the sequential process of how instructions in our genetic code are used to build yung mga functional molecules natin. We have three key components of the flow of the genetic informations in cell. So we have the DNA, RNA, and yung protein. So, kumbaga, ito yung three main stages, no? Or three main stages of the processes of the genetic information. So in here, first, meron tayong DNA. So this is a starting point where a specific segment called a gene holds the master of instructions. Next, RNA naman. So information is transferred from the double-strand DNA to a single-stranded RNA molecule. Next, yung protein. So it acts as a template to link together individual amino acids, no? That represents yung purple beads natin or spears into a chain to form a protein. So classifications of molecules. So the diagram also groups these molecules by their chemical nature. Sa nucleic acids, meron tayong both DNA and RNA are categorized as nucleic acids. Wherein yung protein, this is your final product, no, that performs various functions within the cell. So nucleic acids are polymers of nucleotides, a sugar, a phosphate group, and a nitrogenous base. So kumbaga tong tatlong to, yung part ng DNA that serve as the foundation, kaya siya nagiging 3D DNA. So we have the anatomy of nucleotide. So we have three main parts. We have the yellow, blue, and green. So every single nucleotide consists of three joined parts. Wherein sa yellow circle dito sa pang-una, these are your phosphate group, no? So it provides the structural backbone of the DNA. Kumbaga siya yung pinaka-main support ng DNA ninyo or natin. Another one is blue pentagon. So it has a 5 carbon sugar, deoxyribose for DNA, and ribose naman sa RNA ninyo. Next one is yung green hexagon that represents your nitrogenous bases. So ano naman yung ginagawa nito? So it holds the actual genetic code letter which determine yung adenine, guanine, thymine, and cytosine. So sa difference ni RNA, no? Si uracil replaces thymine sa RNA ninyo. So ito na yung pinaka basis natin, no? For the parts of yung nucleotides natin sa DNA. Again, si phosphate, siya yung nagpo-provide ng structural support sa DNA. Sa sugar, it provides protein. And the next one is yung different bases natin. We have adenine, guanine, thymine, cytosine. So DNA as polymers. So nucleotide monomers are linked into long strands. So dito, meron tayong DNA double helix is made out of 2 strands. 1 strand here, and then 1 strand here. So individual nucleotides link together end-to-end to form long polymers of chains. So twisted ladder shape. So those of these long chains join and twist together, forming the structure a double helix resembling a spiral staircase. Next, a backbone, no? So it is made up of sugars and phosphates, or ito yung pinaka-outer rails natin dito. So the red circular parts, no, form the outer rails of the ladder, made out of alternating sugars and a phosphate groups or phosphate group. Last one, we have ranks. So ano naman yung mga ranks? So dito nakapaloob yung mga different nitrogenous bases natin. So it's either horizontal blue and yellow bars. Inside are the paired nitrogenous of adenine, thymine, cytosine, and guanine, which hold the 2 strands together. So, kumbaga sila yung pang-support dito sa twisted ladder natin sa DNA. DNA-based pairing rules. So, sa loob ng DNA class, ang mga nitrogenous base ay may may mga mahigpit na patterns or sinusunod na pattern kung kanino sila a-attach or dumidikit. So, sa adenine, no, lagi siyang naka-pair with thymine. And then sa guanine, always pairs with cytosine. So, meron tayong dalawang category ng nitrogenous bases natin or let's say family ng nitrogenous bases. So, meron tayong purines at pyrimidines. So, ang mga base na ito ay nahahati sa dalawang pangkat batay sa kanilang chemical structures, no? Si purines, so malalaking moleculars or may 2 rings. So, example natin dito is si adenine. Kasi nga, eto isang ring and then to yung pangalawang ring. So, malalaki yung kanyang structures or it has 2 rings in its structure. So, sa pyrimidines naman, maliliit na molecular. So, example natin dito is yung cytosine and then thymine. So, isa lang yung kanyang ring structure or maliliit na molecules. So, again, yung pyrimidines natin, si thymine and cytosine. And then, yung purines naman, no? Si adenine and guanine. So, next. So, bakit nga ba ganito yung kanilang pairing, no? Si purine and pyrimidine. So, upang manatiling pantay at maging matatag, no? Ang lapad ng structure or staircase ng DNA or 3D shape ng DNA. So, ang isang purine or yung isang 2 rings, just like for example yung adenine, no, ay laging kailang nakatambal sa isang pyrimidine which is si thymine or isang ring lamang. So, dito, si purine, 2 rings, pyrimidine, 1 ring, is type ng bonding. So, adenine and thymine naman is yung hydrogen bonds. Guanine, cytosine, 3 hydrogen bonds. So, kapag purine and purine, example, adenine and guanine, no, masyadong malaki na yung magiging structure. Kumbaga, yung effect nito is magkakaroon ng bulk or magkaroon ng bukol yung structure ng DNA. Kumbaga, hindi na niya ma-maintain yung kanyang 3D shape structure. Kapag pyrimidine and pyrimidine, like cytosine, no, and thymine, kapag sila naman yung nag-pair, masyadong maliit yung space or magiging malayo yung space at hindi na magkakaroon ng bonding. So, kapag purine and pyrimidine, just like adenine and thymine or guanine and cytosine, eksakto lamang ang sukat upang maging mas maayos ang hugis or mas ma-maintain yung structure ng DNA na double helix or 3D structure. Next, RNA. So, dito sa RNA, these are 5-carbon sugar ring with an extra hydroxyl group or yung OH natin dito. Ito. So, meaning, ribose yung kanyang ginagamit na sugar for its structure. So, at the end of the carbon 2 position, making RNA more reactive and less stable than DNA. So, nitrogenous bases, itong blue, ito. So, attached to the 1 carbon, so RNA uses uracil, wherein it is a single ring pyrimidine instead of thymine to pair with adenine. Another thing is yung kanyang phosphate group. Itong yellow color na to. So attached to the 5 carbon, so it links individual nucleotides together to form yung kanyang single-stranded backbone. So let's review or complete the table. Sa biological molecule or polymers natin, we have 4. Carbohydrates, proteins, nucleic acids, and lipids or fats. Sa carbohydrates natin, so yung building blocks or subunits na related dito is yung ating monosaccharides or simple sugar. Functions, they are short-term energy storage and structures. Example, glucose, starch, and cellulose. Next, proteins. Building blocks, amino acids. Functions, it catalyzes enzymes for structure, transport, and defense. Examples, hemoglobin, keratin, insulin. Next, nucleic acids. Building blocks, nucleotides. Functions, storing and transmitting genetic informations. Examples, DNA and RNA. Lipids are fats. Building blocks, glycerol and fatty acids. So they are long-term energy, storage, and cell membranes. Examples, fats, oils, and phospholipids. This diagram provides a great high-level look at process of metabolism. So when we say metabolism, it is a process of breaking down food into the building blocks and energy your body needs to function. Essentially, your body is a master recycler. So it takes complex structures like a steak or an apple and deconstructs them into their Lego brick components. So number one, kung makikita nyo sa picture, meron tayong example dito ng steak or proteins. So when you eat protein like steak, your digestive system breaks into amino acids or breaks it down into amino acids. So ano yung result nun? So your body uses this to build its own structural proteins, just like yung muscles, hair, skin, and it creates enzymes that drive chemical reactions and produce energy or yung adenosine triphosphate when it is necessary. Another example sa carbohydrate breakdown natin is an apple. So this apple or carbs like sugars and fibers in an apple are broken down into simpler sugar molecules or into this one. So the result, this is your body's preferred quick fuel. So it is primarily used for energy production via cellular respiration in the mitochondria, but it also provides structural components sa ating mga cells. Another thing is fats, or fat breakdown sa example natin dito is butter. So yung butter, are broken down into glycerol and fatty acids. So the result, so these are vital for building cell membranes, so the walls of your cell walls. So if you have more than you need immediately, so yung body natin is sinisave yung mga stored energy sa fat droplets for later use. So kung mapapansin natin, meron tayong ATP sa lahat ng examples natin dito, or yung energy. So it appears in all three categories. Regardless of what you eat, one of the ultimate goal is to produce this molecule which acts as the universal currency of energy for every cell in our body. Next, reading food labels on how to calculate it, like unsaturated fats or complex carbohydrates, using the total provided. So unsaturated fats, to find this, subtract the listed bad fats from the total fat. So, sa example natin dito, we have 12 grams of total fat. Saturated fat, 3 grams. Trans fat, 3 grams. So, add these two. So, we have 6 grams. So, total fat, 12 grams minus 6 grams. So, meron na tayong 6 grams of unsaturated fat. Sa complex carbohydrate naman, so these are carbohydrates left over after accounting for sugar and fiber. So we have a total carbohydrate of 31 grams minus the dietary fiber 0 grams minus 5 grams of sugar. So meron na tayong result na 26 grams of complex carbohydrates. So the color-coded sections on the right of the label offer a rule of thumb for healthy eating. So 5% or less is low. So aim for this in nutrients you want to limit, like yung sodium or the saturated fat. Another thing is 20% or more is high. So aim for this in nutrients you want more of like calcium and potassium. So we have to limit this, no? The saturated fat, trans fat, cholesterol, and sodium, these four. So we have to limit that one. So get enough of this, no? So potassium, dietary fiber, and vitamins and minerals. Next. So these uh, are your reading food labels on how to calculate. Next, structural organizations of complex biomolecules. So, tapos na tayo sa molecules of life, no, sa page 4 biomolecules. So, dito naman itatakal natin yung structural organizations of complex biomolecules. So, first, carbohydrates. So, meron tayong dalawang uri or types ng monosaccharides or yung tinatawag nating simple sugars sa ating diagram. So, hexoses, meaning meron tayong 6 na carbon sugars. So, ginagamit ito bilang pangunahing fuel natin sa katawan or pampalakas sa ating katawan. So, meron tayong example dito ng hexoses, glucose, fructose, and galactose. So, dito sa glucose, ito yung pangunahing asukal sa dugo or yung blood sugar natin na ginagawang energy. Sa fructose naman, ito yung mga sugar na matatagpuan sa mga frutas or yung tinatawag nating fruit sugars. Sa galactose naman, ito naman yung mga sugars na matatagpuan sa mga milk, no? Or sa gatas. Another type of carbohydrates. So, meron na naman tayong pentoses, meaning meron siyang 5 carbon dito sa pinaka-ring structure. So, we have deoxyribose and ribose or the DNA and RNA. So, dito sa deoxyribose, no, ito yung asukal na bumubuo or sugar na bumubuo sa DNA. So, ito, kulang siya ng isang oxygen atom kumpara sa ribose. Si ribose naman, ito naman yung sugar na bumubuo sa RNA. So, kumbaga, ginagamit ito bilang structural building blocks sa ating genetic materials. So, lagi nating tatandaan, no? So, yung si hexoses, meron siyang 6 na carbon dito sa kanyang structure. Unlike sa pentoses, meron lamang siyang 5 carbon. So, paraan sa hexoses, of course, for energy. Yung pentoses naman, is for our genetics, which includes yung DNA and yung RNA. Next, lipids. So sa lipids, meron tayong parts ng kanyang structure. So dito, meron tayong makikitang hydrophilic head. So binubuo ito ng phosphate group at glycerol. So kumbaga si hydrophilic head, mas gusto niya na nasa water lang siya or it loves water. So ito ay polar kaya palaging nakatutok sa tubig sa loob at labas ng cell. Next naman is hydrophobic tails. Meron tayong dalawang part or types. Sa saturated fatty acid and then sa unsaturated fatty acid. So, si hydrophobic tails, no, ayaw niya sa tubig. So, sa saturated fatty acid, so makikita natin na diretso lang ang hugis. No? And it is contain single bonds. Unlike sa unsaturated fatty acid, so may baluktot tayo nakita dito because of the double bonding na nangyayari. So dito, si buntot, no? So bakit nga ba baluktot yung buntot niya dito? So ang may baluktot or unsaturated ay nagpapanatili sa membrane na maging malambot at hindi siya ganon na tumitigas, no? So another thing is yung phospholipid bilayer natin. So kumbaga ito na yung structure natin as bilayer. So nahati ito sa dalawa. So sa kapaligirang may tubig, kusang bumubuo ng dalawang nakatapat na layer ang mga phospholipid. So kumbaga yung hydrophilic head is nakatutok sa labas at sa loob na kung saan pinapalagiran ito ng tubig. Yung buntot naman is nakatago dito sa gitna or sa dito sa pinakaloob upang maiwasan ang tubig. So ito ang pangunahing pader or cell membrane ng cell natin. So kumbaga pinoprotektahan nito yung cell or it serves as harang sa cells natin. Next, proteins. So sa proteins, meron tayong mga different structures, whether it's primary structure, secondary, tertiary, and quaternary. So sa primary structure, ito yung tinatawag nating chain. So this is the sequence of amino acids or yung pagkakasunod-sunod ng amino acids that link together. So imagine this as beads on string. So itong spheres na to or ball na to, it represents yung specific amino acids. Next, secondary or yung kung makita natin yung structure na is pa-spiral siya. So local coiling of alpha helix or pleating beta sheets held by hydrogen. Kaya siya nagkakaroon ng folding or spiral structure. So imagine this as twisting the string into a phone cord. So next, tertiary or the 3D shape. So ito. So it is a single chain folding into a unique 3D ball through side chain interaction. So imagine this, crumpling that phone cord into a 3D shape. So next, we have quaternary. So kung mapapansin natin, no, complex of protein molecules. So two or more folded chains joining together into a functional unit. So yung analogy naman dito, imagine tying two or more 3D nuts together like hemoglobin ninyo. So, key concepts. So, yung shape niya kasi, class, is siya yung nagde-determines ng kanyang specific function or function. So, if a protein unfolds or magde-denature or mag-scatter, no, yung 3D shape niya is mawawala or maglo-lose and can no longer do its job or its function. Next, nucleic acids. So the sides of the ladder or ito, yung sugar phosphate backbone. So it is made up of repeating sugar and phosphate molecules. So anong ginagawa niya? It protects and holds genetic structure together and runs in opposite directions from 5 to 3 on one side and 3 to 5 on the other. Kumbaga, anti-parallel yung kanyang galaw. So the rungs of the ladder. So eto, yung rungs or yung mga nitrogenous bases. So the middle steps are pairs of chemical bases. So A or adenine pairs with T and G pairs with C. So these letters spell out the genetic instruction inside living things or living organisms. So meron tayong key measurements, no? So dito sa baba, so meron siyang 2 nanometer. So it determines kung gaano ka-wide yung ladder is from side to side. So the distance between each rungs. So yun yung width ni eto. The opening or detoy distance ni sugar phosphate backbone. Next, 1 full turn into 3.4 eto, nanometer. So the length it takes for the ladder to complete 1 full 360 degrees twist contains about 10 pairs of your nitrogenous bases. Kumbaga ito yung sukat, no, ng pag-twist into full 360 degrees. Next. So, ito na yung mga different parts, again, ng DNA natin. Phosphorus, carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, and its bases. So, the summary of the 4 major biomolecules or complex molecules. So first, carbohydrates. Primary function serves as the body's main source of fast-acting fuel. Example nito is yung glucose. So found in sugars and starches. So monomers constructed from monosaccharide units called the simple sugars. Next, lipids. Primary functions act as long-term energy reserves and builds the structural framework of cell membranes. So subunits composed of glycerol heads and fatty acid chains. Key examples includes fats, oils, and steroids. Next, proteins' primary function. It drives cellular processes and construct essential tissue structures. Monomers assembled from chains of amino acids. Key examples encompasses enzymes, antibodies, and muscle fibers. Nucleic acids, primary functions, it encodes, stores, and also transfer your genetic instructions or genetic materials within the cell. So yung monomers na related dito, it is built from nucleotide subunits. It includes your phosphate group, sugars, and nitrogenous bases. Key examples here consist of yung DNA ninyo or the deoxyribonucleic acid and RNA or the ribonucleic acid.